All right, let's get started right away. We're going to talk about things that you should know before you start your YouTube channel, or maybe you've started one and you're like, I don't really know what I'm doing. We're going to get right into that. Hey, my name is Ashley. If we haven't met before, I blog over at seniortospanish.com as well as teachtheteacherauthor.com. The last 2 years, one of my big business focuses was getting started on YouTube. So I've actually had a YouTube channel for 9 years, but only in the last 2 years did I start being purposeful with it and, actually trying to do it. So I'm going to share with you what I've learned and what I wish I had known, all of those sorts of things. Not going to waste your time. Let's get right into it. First things first is equipment. You might be going, okay, I see all these vloggers posting their studio setups, and absolutely not. I mean, if you want to and you already have it, sure, but do not feel like you need to spend $400 on fancy cameras and mics and lights and whatever's. No, like just no. If you've got a phone that's got a video recording process option on it, you're set. I do use a microphone, but only because I usually record in an area that's got tile flooring, so my audio gets yucky if I don't use a microphone. But it's literally a $20 one, so and hopefully you're like Ashley, it sounds like a $20 one. If that's the case, let me know. But I haven't had any complaints and I have asked. On to the actual YouTube channel setup. There are 3 things that you need to do to be branding and doing your stuff. The one is the cover landing header page. So when you go to somebody's YouTube channel, that big image that stretches across the top, YouTube gives you the dimensions for it. Also your profile picture and make these branded. This is not advice you really need, but just in case you didn't think about it, make it match your stuff from everywhere else on the internet, so that way when somebody lands there, they're going, oh, it's you. I have also heard recommendations saying use that space to communicate what you're going to provide, what you're going to deliver. So mine in the past had said something like new videos every whatever. And I've also done things like videos for, right, whoever you're creating for, or whatever kind of consistency you want them to be able to expect to keep coming back. You can add a little tagline there. You don't have to. You can come back and experiment with that later. Don't let that be a hang up. Okay, next up is a schedule. I want you to think about this before you really even get into things. What is a schedule that you can stick to? So are you going to post weekly? Or are you going to post every other week? Or are you going to post once a month and just I'm just going to start getting out there? Whatever it is, I want it to be something that you can be consistent at, because YouTube really does like that consistency. Whatever it is that you set up as your schedule, try and stick to that as much as you can. Obviously, there's times, something else comes up, or you get sick, or somebody else in your family gets sick, or, whatever. Don't stress yourself out, but just do your best to kind of stay on track with that. Okay, next up, we're going to talk about repurposing. And if you haven't heard me say it before, I'm sure you've heard it somewhere on the internet. Repurpose your content. So if you have a blog, that is a great place to get started with your long form YouTube content. And actually, when I first started, all I did was look at blog posts, and I literally would have them sitting right here on my computer, and I'd essentially read the blog post. I mean, they get a little pizzazz.
What's jazz hands?
That I probably wouldn't put in writing, but that's the great outline. Okay, so if you have any sort of long form content, or if you write emails and you want to repurpose emails, perfect. Okay, do it.
Do it. Do it.
Short form content, reels, TikToks, even Pinterest videos, if you did those back in the day when they were really a thing, those all repurpose over to YouTube beautifully. So something that's kind of weird about YouTube is when you're trying to upload a short form piece of content, there's not a button that says, YouTube, this is a short, or YouTube, this is a long form content. YouTube doesn't give you the option. It just looks at how long your video is and says, looks like you're uploading a short. So if you're wondering how to make shorts on YouTube, it's really easy. YouTube literally does it for you and doesn't give you the choice. But they do something that's really, really cool. Cool. So you can use your short form content to funnel to your long form content. And what I mean by that is when you upload a short form piece of content to your YouTube channel, it gives you the option to say, hey, add a related video. And if you tap that button, you can select from your channel a long form piece of content. So then when they're watching it, it's going to have this button up on the bottom of the screen that it's hard to miss. It's pretty darn clear. So that's a really nice way to say, hey, maybe I caught your eye with this short form piece of content. Do you want to see the rest of it? Right? Think about that customer journey. Think about that funnel. Maybe you make a long form video that's 5 ideas for activities in February or, whatever. And then you're making shorts that are like, here's one idea for activities in February. Check out my video for the other 4 or whatever. And you can do that with each of the ideas. See how that kind of all trickles in? That's repurposing that content to short form video as well. Okay, before you even start getting away here with repurposing blog posts and repurposing short form content, let's talk about what content you should even make. When you first start planning your YouTube content, you need to do keyword research.
Would you like to tell us a little bit about your upcoming research?
You need to do some keyword research because Google and YouTube are such great friends. You want to make sure you're serving up valuable content for what is being searched for. You don't want to be creating stuff that literally nobody is looking for. It's not helpful at all. So what I recommend you do before you even start filming anything or even batching or like looking at your blog post to repurpose, go do keyword research for your niche and generate a list of like 12 content ideas where you're like, you know what, I think this would be helpful. I think people are looking for it based on my research. Okay, here's 12 ideas. Don't start filming yet. We're going to talk about that soon. But make sure you have that bank of ideas so that way it's easier for you to stick to that routine that we talked about. Stick to whatever that posting schedule was that you've decided.
She's consistent.
I know we just talked about keyword research, but I also want you to be flexible when responding to needs. Because if you're plugged into your teacher community, there are going to be times where all of a sudden everybody is suddenly talking about this like new tool or this change or this whatever, and they need help with this thing. You can, on the drop of a hat, create content that fits that need. Or maybe it's like October 29th and all of a sudden you're seeing a ton of questions about Halloween this year and you're like, oh. So it's not necessarily too late. Like if you post the video on October 29th, people are still going to see it and find it, but you might be too busy, right? Maybe your schedule's too packed. You're like, oh, this would have been such a great video, but I just don't have time. Put a note in your calendar for next year that just says video topic, whatever it is. So that way when you're coming around again, because you're going to stick with this, you aren't going to even have to brainstorm. You're going to say, oh, last year this was huge, and you're going to do it. Okay, back to repurposing again. I want to talk to you about embedding your content and reusing your content. And I know, right, you're like, we already just talked about reusing content, blog posts, shorts, come on, we're on it. This time I'm talking about from YouTube to other places. So every time you make a YouTube video, if it's related at all to a blog post, embed it. If it's a short, embed it. If it's a long form, embed it. That way people will be finding your channel from your blog and they're going to start going, oh, hey, this, and some people just prefer watching videos or listening while they're doing something else. So giving them that other option to consume your content is really helpful. I also take my long form YouTube videos. I post them every Sunday at 2 on YouTube and every Sunday over at 7 o'clock on my Facebook page. The exact same video goes live. And it might seem silly, it might seem weird, but they're actually different audiences. And I have seen that in the comments and seen that in the interactions that I'm getting, that whoever's watching over there is not necessarily watching over here. So putting it on both places, just gonna catch everybody. Let's talk about YouTube data and analytics because it is a lot. It's a lot. But there's like 3 key things that I want you to think about and I want you to focus on when you start digging into your analytics. So first off, even though we generated that big list of ideas, like you have 12 keyword researched video topics and you're like, all right, ready to knock these out. Usually I am team batch. If you know me, you know I love batching my Instagram content. You know I love batching email content. I love batching my YouTube videos too. But if you are just getting started, which I'm guessing you are because you're here, don't batch your videos. And the reason for that being is you're going to start creating videos and then you're going to watch your analytics like a hawk. And when I say like a hawk, I just mean you're going to use them to tell you like, was that video any good or not? So YouTube literally gives you mountains of data, but we're going to talk about impressions versus click-through rate. We're going to talk about watch time and we're going to talk about retention because those are kind of the 3 key pieces to pay attention to. So starting at the beginning, that impressions versus click-through rate, what that is referring to is very similar to like on TPT. If somebody sees your product and clicks through it versus if somebody sees your product and does not. YouTube tells you how many people saw your thumbnail, your cover, and scrolled by, and how many people saw your cover and clicked in. You want people to click in. So if you've got a really low click-through rate, that tells you like this cover isn't performing, right? Either the topic isn't interesting or the cover is just not catching people's eye, it's not stopping the scroll, it's not right, whatever it is, it's not working. The next piece of that is the retention rate. So what that means is how long do the people who come to watch your video stay on your video? And this is a little bit different than watch time, although it's kind of confusing. So when somebody first comes over and clicks to your video and they start watching, there's usually a period of time where they will watch it before they stop watching it and they leave. And that drop off point is really important. So if you are seeing people clicking through to your video and then watching like the first 30 seconds and being like, and leaving, your retention rate's gonna go like, it's gonna look like this. That tells you there's something wrong. For example, maybe your title and your thumbnail are like quick and easy, stress-free ideas for December, like crazy time of year, right? And you're trying to say like, boom, 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 come on over, I'll get you. And then they click and they watch your video, and the first like 3 minutes of your video are being like, oh, we had dress up day, we have this, we have finals, I'm supposed to be packing goodie bags, we have a field trip, and you're just like complaining. And honestly, it's you trying to relate or you being relatable, which is good, but they clicked on that video because you said you have low stress things that they can use, not, hey, I can relate to you being super stressed out. Here, I'm going to help you with this. You see how that's kind of, right? So if you see somebody clicking on your video and then dropping off, that tells you that that first chunk of your video is not meeting the needs, or that your thumbnail and the first chunk of your video are disconnected, right? Because they click on it thinking that they're going to get this, and then you deliver that, not that, right? The last one I want to talk to you about is watch time. And this is just, like I said, it's a little bit different than retention, although they're very much related. Watch time is how long people watch your content for. So obviously a higher retention rate means that you're going to be gathering more watch time, but you can still gather a lot of watch time with short retention. So I might have a short form piece of content that's like 4 seconds long, right? And you're like, how on earth is that going to get you a good amount of watch time? Well, sometimes people watch and then rewatch. Sometimes people watch for like few seconds and then they scroll by, and that's like positive retention, because even if they watch 2 seconds of a 4-second video, that is 50%, right? That's like half of the video. So that tells YouTube, oh, this was at least sort of interesting for a little while, and it's going to keep pushing it out. So that kind of thing can really add up. But that last number, that last statistic to look at of watch time is going to tell YouTube, is this video helpful? Was it delivering good content? Did people stick around to see what else she was saying? Did they talk about, whatever? So it's kind of that customer journey when you think about, okay, they're searching for something, they see your thumbnail, they click it, click through rate. They watch the first few seconds of your video and they're like, yeah, okay, this is for me. Retention. Which retention isn't just about the first 30 seconds, it's about the whole thing. But that's really what I use it for, is looking at that first chunk. Watch time is then, okay, are people watching, all 13 minutes of this video, or are people watching 2 minutes of this video and being like, meh. Like, so maybe you hooked them and they were interested, but then as you were delivering, they weren't actually interested in whatever it was. So the reason I say don't batch your content yet is because it's going to be a little bit of experimenting in the beginning. As you get into an editing style and watching that data, watching those analytics, you'll get a feel for what does my audience like and what do they stick around for, and you also will become more comfortable, just like you, talking to the video camera, because I know sometimes that's a little bit of a hurdle for people. So don't batch. Do like the first few videos one at a time and really pay attention to what those are. You've already done the keyword research. You can write your outline, you can write your script and do all of that stuff, but don't actually do the recording or editing until you start to get an idea for like, okay, this went really well, this did not. And that's still kind of a journey. Honestly, there are still times where I'm like, what if I try? And then you give it a shot and you're like, oh, that was terrible. Or like, oh, that was exactly what they wanted for whatever reason. I mentioned editing, we're getting to it. Here it comes. I personally use the free app InShot, and I also use iMovie. Although when I first started, I just used Canva because I was like, I kind of hate iMovie. But really, any free video editing software is just fine, right? whatever you have access to is going to be fine. So like I said, I use the free version of InShot, and I just do some like basic chopping, trimming, sometimes speeding, sometimes slowing, sometimes freeze framing, like that sort of stuff. And then I do my overlays in iMovie. One last thing is your thumbnail creation. If you are already confident in your TPT cover creation, the process and the goal is very similar, right? You want to catch somebody's eye, you want to like communicate what's happening in the video, and you want to get them to click through to the, I mean, it would be product, but video, okay? The other thing that's really cool is that both Facebook and YouTube allow you to do a thumbnail test. And they call it A-B testing, but YouTube it's ABC testing, and Facebook it's, I think it's ABCD testing. I think you can test up to 4. So when you're creating a thumbnail for your video and you're like, I don't know, I can't decide, do I like a blue background or a green background better? Make them both. A-B test, ABC test, ABCD test. It's super easy. It tests it for you and it will give you the results and it will stick with the winner. So there's no reason why you shouldn't do that. There's no reason why you can't do that. And I've found that to be really helpful. It helps me kind of get a pattern of like, oh, people like this style more than they like that style, right? Think big, clear, attention-grabbing headlines. Just like when you're making your TPT covers, not like lots of cursive-y stuff that's just hard to read. You really want them to be able to catch it with their eyes, see it, and go. Alrighty, my friends, that is all that I have for you. In case you have questions about anything that I've talked about, you can get a hold of me over on Instagram at teach.the.teacherauthor. I'm also, like I said, I blog over at teachtheteacherauthor.com, and my email and contact info are available there. So if you need anything, just reach out and let me know. It was so nice to meet you. I'll see you around the internet.